Assalamu alaikum. Dear students, most welcome to the class of Money and Banking and Finance. Today is ninth lecture of Money and Banking. Today we will discuss the evolution of modern banking. Dear students, as you know, our subject is Money and Banking and Finance. So our subject is formed from three parts. The first part is money, the second part is banking, and the third part is finance. Dear students, we successfully completed the first part, that was the money. Recall from the previous lecture, from the lecture 1st to lecture 8, we studied all the concept related to the money. For example, we studied the evolution of money, the money standards, monetary standards, monetary policy, inflation, deflation, stagflation, functions of money, money devaluation. All these concepts were related to the money. So this was our first part of the Money and Banking and Finance. Dear students, today we will start the second part of our subject, that is banking. So we will discuss 5 to 6 lectures regarding the banking. So today is our first lecture of the second part of the Money and Banking and Finance subject. Today we will discuss the evolution of modern banking. Evolution of modern banking means that the historical view of banking, that how the word bank came to existence in the world, how the word bank is used by the different people in different economies, when the word of bank came into existence, what are the functions of the bank, what are the objectives of the bank, what are the kinds of bank in the world. So all of these concepts will be discussed today. So let me start with the very first topic, that is evolution of banking. Dear students, if we look to the history of the banking, so the word bank is not identified clearly so far in academic discussion. It's not clear that when the word bank is used in the world and who are the pioneers to the word bank, who the firstly used the word bank. But according to this one school of thought, the word bank is derived from the word bankers. Bank means bench, and the word bench explains itself to us that bench means exchanging of products, exchanging of money, exchanging of different papers on the bench. So this is the one of most famous school of thought, that this school of thought says that the word bank is derived from the word bankers, or derived from the word bank, or derived from the word bench. So bankers, banky, bank, all these words means bench. Jews in Lombardy transacted the business of money exchange on benches in marketplace. So money exchange means they used to exchange different monies, money from different countries on the bench in the marketplace. When businesses failed, the business of bench in marketplace failed, the bankers was destroyed by people. The word bankers was destroyed by the people, so the bankrupt word incidentally came into existence in the world? So today we are using the word bankruptcy. We simply, any business fails, we use the word the business is bankrupted. Any bank fails, so we use the word bankruptcy to the bank. So on the view of historical, so when the business of benches in marketplace failed, the bankers was destroyed by the people. So the word bankrupt evolved incidentally at that time. So this bankruptcy nowadays we are using for the different organizations, for the different businesses which fails, we use the word bankruptcy to them. Other authority hold the opinion that the bank is derived from German word Bauch, which means giant stock company. And you are familiar with the giant stock companies, that joint stock companies are the very large companies or the official companies, and these companies have the agency problems. These companies have the agents to manage the businesses. The owners are separate and the businesses are separate, so they are called joint stock companies. So they say that the word bank is derived from the German word that is Bauch, which means giant stock company. So later on, when Germany occupied major part of Italy, the word Bauch was Italianized into bank. It is therefore not possible to decide as to which of the opinion is correct. For now, for no record is available to ascertain the validity of any opinions. So this is the whole concept of evolution of banking. The start of evolution of banking, start of this slide, I told you that it's not clear so far. Still it's not clear that the word bank, who used the word bank first in the world, how it came into existence. But there are different schools of thoughts, there are different views, there are different concepts which explains the word bank. So next topic is also evolution of banking. Related to the evolution of banking, the roots of modern banking can be traced to as early as 1600 BC. 600 BC means that 1400 years before the modern bank world's roots are traced. But broadly we can divide into following stages. The first stage is the goldsmith stage. The goldsmith stage, from the very ancient period, the goldsmith over and above their own activities used to act as custodians of the surplus funds of the general people of the society. For that reason, they were recognized as a symbol of honesty, sincerity, solvency and security. On receipt of money, they used to issue receipt, and on return of money, they used to take acknowledgement. Later on, these receipts were treated deposit slips and checked respectively. The deposits receipts were undoubtedly acceptable and popular as notes of the goldsmiths, and afterward converted into banknotes. Besides these, they used to lend money with interest to the needy people, and thus the word interest and the profit were introduced at that time. In the Middle Ages, the goldsmiths became very rich and affluent at one time. Goldsmiths used to deposit their money with the Treasury of England. During the regime of King the First Charles in 1640, the reserve funds of the goldsmiths in London Tower were confiscated, and they had to pay penalty for taking taka 2 lakhs pounds. They left gold businesses and got involved with the banking business. Thus the goldsmiths had a definite role for the advancement of modern banking. So the next topic is the money lender. The money lender also played an important role for the growth and development of modern banking. They used to keep surplus money of the people and return those in case of need. Later on, they took it as a profession. They used to pay interest to the depositors and earn interest on loans. They also used to take security mortgage against loan. In Europe, they were called Medici, Bencusi, Pitti, Missouri, and Indian subcontinents Siti, Chiti, Multani, Kabliwala were the Mahajan in Europe. Most of the Mahajan were Jews amongst them. So the third era of the modern evolution of modern banking is businessmen. Business class also played vital role for the growth and development of modern banking from the ancient period. The business class were trustworthy to the general people. They were honest, faithful, and solvent. As a result, general people used to deposit money to them for the safety and security of funds. In course of time, they were involved in money lending to businesses. The businessmen of seven hills of Rome were world famous. The fourth era to regulate financial sector, a conference was held in Nuremberg in 1548. So at that time, this conference was related to the money lending and the borrowing of money. The first central bank was formed in Geneva in 1578. Bank of England was also established in 1694. The modern commercial banking system actually developed in the 19th century. This modern banking system came into existence in 19th century. So this was the evolution of bank. So what is bank? What does bank mean? What is the definition of bank? A bank is a firm which collects money from those who have it spare. It lends money to those who require it. So they are middlemen. They collect money from those people who have surplus with them. So they are savers. They are investors. And on the other part, the bank is the intermediary. It's an institution. So they pool money from those who are savers, who are investors, who have surplus of money, and this money, pooled money, and collected money is granted, is provided, and lend it to the people who have need of it. According to the Banking Companies Ordinance, it means the Banking Companies Law in 1962, Section 5 of B, banking means the accepting for the purpose of lending. Accepting of money for the purpose of lending this money, or for the purpose of investment of this money, or for the purpose of deposit of money from the public, repayable on demand or otherwise, and withdrawable by checks, drafts, orders, or otherwise by ATMs. So these are all the functions and all the definitions of the bank. Commercial banks are companies which transact the business of banking in Pakistan. So commercial banks or companies which transact the business of banking in Pakistan. Functions of banking. What are the functions? Main functions of banking. The functions of banking are divided into three functions: the basic functions, the secondary functions, and the general functions. So general utility services. And in basic functions, accepting of deposit mean they accept money. They accept surplus money from the people who are savers, who are investors, on the base of current account, on the base of saving account, of the base of fixed account, and etc. So all of these accounts are the accepting of deposits by bank. And the second basic function of the bank is lending. So they lend money to the commercial banks, commercial institutions, to the consumer loans, to the bill discounts. So commercial banks means the commercial institutions, which are institutions who will invest this money in different projects. Consumer loans means the consumer loans also it's a type of loan which provide a bank for the purpose of purchasing of cars, purchasing of mortgages, purchasing of property, purchasing of machines. So they are all consumer loans. Purchasing of home appliances. Most of the banks provide the home appliances on loan, cars on loan, motorcycles on loan. So these are consumer loans. And the third type is the lending is bills discounting. Bills discount is the type when a purchaser of product purchases products from the producer and pays to the producer on the base of letter of credit. Letter of credit means that he is not going to pay money directly to the producer. He will pay the money according to the bank. According to the bank, and bank receives fee on this payment. So this is the bill discounting. So these are the main or basic functions of the bank. The secondary functions are collection of checks. You better know about that. They collect checks and pay against these checks. Collection of dividends. They collect dividends from different different organizations, different firms. So then pay these dividends to the consumer and they get fees. Purchase or sale of securities. They purchase securities of the different organizations and then sell on profit to the investors. So this is secondary function. Execution of standing instructions, the instructions regarding the securities, regarding the dividends, regarding the checks. So also this is also a type of function of the bank. And acting as trustee or executor. They are trustee. People trust on them. People invest their money in the banks. So they are trustee. They are executors. Executor means they implement the money. They invest the money in the different projects of the economy. So these are the secondary functions of the bank. The third is the general utility services. They also provide services against the fees. They are foreign exchange business. So they provide business of exchanging. They exchange foreign money in the bank. They act as a referee. They are referee. It's a common sense. They are referee for the exchange of money. They are referee for the purchase and sale of securities. They are referee for the trust of the people. So all of the functions are on the basis of referee. So issuance of traveler checks. They also provide to the customers, to the investors, and the traveler checks. When they travel to other countries, they provide checks, and by these checks, they will get the money on the basis of their need in foreign countries. Supplying of trade information. They also provide to the investors trade informations, to the traders trade information, advice on financial matters. If any organization, any firm has a financial matter, so they provide them advice and get money, get fees on them. Safe custody of valuables means they are safe custody. They keep safe of the different valuable products of the people, such as gold rings, gold necklaces, right? And the diamonds, the money. So people, the banks are the place where all of the people get their safe custody of their valuables. They also provide the business of insurance, and they also provide traveling facilities to the people. So these are the general utility services of the bank. The next topic is kinds of bank. There are 12 kinds of bank in the world. The first kind is commercial bank. Commercial banks are those banks which are not public banks. They are private held banks. They are private limited banks, and these banks works as for the profit of the owner. Merchants means exchange banks. The banks who works for the exchange of money, exchange of currency of different countries. Saving banks, the banks who are work for the savings of the people. Agricultural banks who provide lends to provide funds to the agricultural sector of the economy. Industrial banks, they are banks who provide funds to the industrial sector of the economy. Investment banks, the banks who invest in different projects of the economy. Consumer banks who provide loans to the people on the basis of consumer loans. for example, before I told you, such as car loans, such as the mortgage loans, such as college loans, fees loans, all these loans are the consumer loans. And these banks are called consumer banks. Cooperative banks, the banks who cooperate with consumer banks, with industrial banks, agricultural banks, so they are called cooperative banks. Microfinance banks, microfinance banks are banks who provide very small type of loans to the individual customers. They do not provide the large loans to the financial institutions or to the firms, to the organizations. They only provide very small type of loans to the individual customers in the economy. Islamic banks, the banks who work, their all activities, their all transactions are on the base of Islamic Sharia principles. Small and medium enterprise banks, SME banks, the banks who provide to the small and medium enterprises funds to the small and medium enterprises, such as shopkeeper gets a small loan from the SME bank to expand his business on the base of shop. So these are SME banks. And central banks, the banks which are common banks who have reserve. All commercial banks, all these other banks have reserve with central bank, and central bank is the lender of last resort for all these commercial banks. Next topic is the role of bank in economy. What is the role of bank in economy? Banks promote capital formation. It means that if anyone want to make a capital, make a business, invest a capital, so they promote them. They provide guidance to them. They provide loan to them. They provide instructions to them. Investment in new enterprises. If anyone want to invest in new enterprises, so they provide loans to them. Promotion of trade and industry. So they promote industry by providing them loans. They also promote trade between two countries by providing loans to them. Development of agriculture. They also work for the agriculture of the economy, agriculture sector of the economy. They also balance development of different regions. Different regions means that if the remote area people are very poor people, they have no chance to promote themselves, so they provide a small loans to them to promote them with other regions of the country, other regions of the economy. Influencing economic activities. They have influence on economic activities, means that they generate economic activities in the economy. Implementation of monetary policy. So monetary policy is implemented by the central bank. So bank is a way of implementing of monetary policy. Monetization of economy. Monetization means that any part of the economy is not generating profit, so the banks convert them into profit generating part of the economy. So it's called monetization of economy. They monetize the economy. If there is agricultural sector and agricultural sector is not providing profit to the economy, so they develop them, they promote the agriculture sector of the economy, so this agriculture sector will generate profit to the government, to the economy. So this is monetization of economy. And at the last, the export promotion cell. So this is a cell by which the exporters promote their exports to the other countries. So these are all the roles of banks in the economy. So this is your today's lecture. We will discuss other concepts relating to the modern banking, to the banks. So for now, it's enough for you people. This was the first topic, the first lecture of the modern banking or banks. So we started the second part of our subject of money and banking and finance.